Shannon, Morrison, defensive coordinators, safeties.
Well, Coach, first off, welcome back to the Herd. I know that this place is special to you. What about Marshall makes it special to come back for you and Coach?
For me, it's just the people that are around the community, the people around the university. Obviously, with my background of being a graduate of Marshall, it's home. And between it being home and the people in the community, this is where I wanted to be.
When you look at Coach Gibson's staff, it's a ton of guys who either played here, coached Division I football in the state of West Virginia, or who are, like yourself, from the state of West Virginia. How important is that to build the culture around Marshall University and around the community? You've been around it so long, you could probably speak on that better than anybody.
Again, I think it's how we were raised in this area. You know, it's tough. What your word means something, and being able to back that word up and doing what's right, not only by what you say, or you're also representing this area, this community, the state. So it's special, you know, being from here and doing those type of things and having that what you do and what you say and backing that up.
You won a national championship here, being a former Marshall standout. How do coaches like yourself, Street, and even offensive guys like Gunner, who's been here through some of Marshall's most successful times, how do you instill the Marshall tradition in players, especially in a transfer portal time? You don't have long to do that before you kick things off. It's not like you can build on that for a year or so.
There's a brand behind the M, and guys before me that played here, guys after me that played here, there's a standard to uphold and defend that brand, defend that name across your chest. Having that instilled in me, and then being able to talk to the guys about, hey, standards have been set here before, and we've got to continue that standard and continue that tradition. And I think they look at me and say that I've been here and done that, and it's an easy, I'm not gonna say sell, but it's an easy sell to kids, because you look at the history here and you look at the traditions, you can bring that up. Having been here, done that, it's not hard for them to, plus the passion that I have for this place, it's easy to show them and instill that tradition and pride and continue that progress.
How fun has it been building the chemistry with the new guys on this staff? Obviously, you've got some familiarity with Street, but other guys, Jake and Jared, some of these guys around, every time I walk down the hallway, it seems like y'all are on a whiteboard going over things and really picking each other's brains for ideas. Like, how much fun the last couple of months have been trying to build that chemistry and formulate this defense?
It's been fun. Obviously, it starts with what type of people that you're dealing with, and these are all good people. Not only good people, but good coaches. So it's easy to walk in and be like, hey, what's your thoughts on this, or what's your thoughts on that? And good people, good coaches, it makes it a blessing to come into work. It makes it fun to come into work. And just having daily interactions with those guys, it's a lot of fun.
The offense on the other side of y'all is going to be a high-powered, no-huddle attack, and you see that, when you're going through practices and everything. Does that impact the way you try to game plan at all, knowing that Marshall's offense is going to be kind of no-huddle, going to be kind of that high-powered attack?
No, it doesn't affect me at all, because the way I see it is no matter how good our offense is, if they don't score, they can't win. And I'm talking about the other teams. If the other teams don't score, they don't win. So, is it nice if our offense is high power and scoring a lot of points? Absolutely. But I'm not expecting it. I'm not planning on it. I only control our side of the ball, and I'm trying to keep people out of the end zone. And that's all I care about.
In the spring game, we saw the defense's ability to show that they can make plays. 4 turnovers and guys really getting after it. Who are some of the guys that that really stand out to you as the playmakers leading into this 2025 season?
Well, it starts up front, and you've got a core group of guys, and I think we have the opportunity to roll 8, 10 guys up front to keep them fresh and keep them going. But Jamal Weiss, Braden Ward, Katron, all those guys up front, I mean, those are just a few, but there's comfort there with anybody that takes the field. And obviously part of that is I know what they're getting taught and getting coached, but at the same time, those guys go out there and play hard. Then, you talk about the second level, Jabril, Jave, Shannon, JP, I mean, the list goes on and on. So you're developing that comfort with those guys, but at the same time, you go out there and see them play, and then you go to the next level. You got Boogie Trotter, you got Marve, you got Sweet, you got Cam Smith, you got Wody, you got JD. So we have depth, and we're going to be able to play a lot of guys. But and I'm sure I'm missing somebody, and somebody's going to come to me and be like, "Coach, why'd you leave me out?" Because I can't remember everybody's names. But we have some depth, which allows us to play a lot of people and allows us to play even harder than when you don't have that depth. And guys are going to say, "Coach, I don't want to come out of the game." Well, if we're playing 80 snaps, you're not taking all 80. So it gives us opportunities to give other guys chances to play and go in there and make plays. And the standard's been set by the past groups of going out there and making plays, and this group has been able to make plays so far in practice. Now they just got to transition it to a game.
Somebody you mentioned that's on the front line, Jamal. I remember his dad being here, his dad being a heck of a player. Does that add a level to it when a guy comes back and he knows that his family name's been here, and does he? It seems like Jamal has taken this on a lot more. And what type of player do you see out of Jamal?
He's as good as he wants to be. I think he can be a dominating guy. And I do think that was also one of the reasons why he came here. Because he already had that tie. It played a role in his dad's life, and I think his dad had good things, had a good experience here, and that just helped us. And obviously, I'm expecting big things out of him, and we'll just have to wait and see whenever we line it up to see how good he will be. But I expect him to be one of our guys up front.
Jave Gilmore was a guy that flashed all throughout the spring game. Every time it was unblockable. I mean, it really seemed like he was wreaking havoc everywhere he went. What has been the biggest thing that you've seen with Jave that has really helped almost pull guys up to his standard and the Marshall standard through his first little bit here?
Well, I mean, Jave's easy to pick out. He's got length. He's got a great personality. So he's easy to pick out because at our second level at backers, I mean, if you turn on the film and you see who is this long athletic guy out there, he's easy to find. So being able to have guys like him and Jabril and be able to blitz those guys and give different looks and do different things with those guys is a benefit for me. But those guys being able to go out there and within the scheme, make the plays that we're asking and do a little bit above and beyond, it makes it easy. And so, yeah, the expectations for him and those backers are very high. And we talk about it as a defense. I let them know in the first meeting, hey, the standard's been set 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was, top 10 in the country in defense. That's what I strive to get back to, and that's what I reiterate to these guys. And not just, you go all the way back to the Chad Pennington days, and everybody says, oh, you had Chad Pennington and Randy Moss. Well, we were pretty dang good on defense then, too. And there was a lot of guys that got drafted off of those teams and went to the NFL. So being able to go back and pull those up, those stats, those guys, and relay that to the guys that are here now, it's an attention grabber for them. So
When you mentioned Jabril, he's another guy that, you know, when you look on film, you're going to see Javay because of his length and athleticism, but then you also see Jabril making the plays because sometimes there's a focal point on Javay that opens things up too. So how do those two feed off each other, and how do they push each other every single day?
Well, I don't think I've seen Jabril or Javay one-on-one, because if there's one in the room, the other one's not far behind. And Javay's got the length and Jabril's got the hair. I call him Little Palomalu because all you see is hair hanging out the back of his helmet. But so they're easy to pick out because they are athletic and they fit perfect into what we do with our pressure, with our drop packages, all those different things. So it's a blessing for me. Now, if we can just keep them in the right direction and keep them going, we'll be fine.
Well, one of the cool things about the spring game is also you are putting pressure on, and when you put pressure on, it takes a certain type of player to kind of blend the right type of risk taking and having the smarts to not take the wrong risk. But it seemed like Boogie did a great job of that in the spring game. And how does he feed off what's going on in front of him to be able to read and react and make the plays? It seemed like he was very special in the spring game.
Yeah, well, I got on Boogie a little bit, and some of his practices up to that point were what I thought he could get out of, and he just looked at me after spring game and was like, "Coach, I'm a gamer," which is the worst thing you want to hear as a coach. But he has enough confidence in himself, and not just him, but those other guys around him in the secondary, that they know when we start pressuring people, we're going to get home, and they know that they're able to take some chances, which allows them to be successful. And Boogie definitely showed that in spring.
On the outside of football, something that I noticed about Boogie the other day, when he puts it out on social media, hey, where are some camps going on in Huntington? I want to help out the Marshall community. What does that mean to you as a coach, and what does that say about him as a player?
Well, you know, when guys get here, and we talk about how this community wants to be involved and wants to get to know you guys, and for him to be able to throw it out there and just be like, hey, I'm ready to embrace this, it means a lot to me. Just being a former player, being involved in the community, and I think that's huge because I think the community wants to get to know him, and him opening himself up to allow that to happen, I think that's big. And I think that's kind of what we want out of all of our guys, just to get involved in the community and let these kids and adults and everybody else that wants to get to know them that opportunity. So I think it's awesome.
You know, you look and you know, complimenting those guys. You got Marvay coming in, and Marvay has been a guy that we've sort of seen have flashes, whether it be practices or drills or, you know, even walking down a hallway. It seems like everything he does is with a little bit of flair. What have you seen from Marvin, and what do you expect his role to be in the back end of that defense?
I expect him to be a rock. I expect on him whenever his number's called, whether that be a blitz or his number's called to make a play, I expect him to make it. And I think his expectations are that too. Anytime you ask a person how they're doing and they respond with marvelous every single time, he's not lacking for confidence. And at that position, you need to have some confidence. And I think that's where not just Boogie and Marvay, but all those guys have a quiet confidence in themselves that is reassuring as a coach, because I have the utmost confidence that when that ball's in the air, they're going to make a play.
You mentioned JD and Wody coming back. Is it important to have those pieces coming back to kind of perpetuate, okay, there was success last year, and even though there's 63 new guys and several new coaches, this is Marshall. We play for championships. We experienced this last year. That is the expectation. How important are those guys to kind of bridging that gap between new and continuity?
It is important because there is some carryover to what was here previous, and everybody is valued in that room, whether they were new old, it doesn't matter. As long as they're good people. And the thing I'm excited about with this group is we're not cliquish. Those guys will hang out, hold people accountable, and as a coach, that's what you want. Guys that will hold each other accountable, but also guys that enjoy hanging out with each other. And I think that's, even though we have 62 new players, those kids that have been brought in and are here, they have bought into what we're trying to get accomplished, but they've also bought in because they're good people. And that's what I'm excited about. So having the camaraderie and just guys wanting to hang out with each other and guys wanting to be around each other, I think that's big as a team, and I think we have that.
When you look at Cam Smith, a guy that also on the back end of that defense, and he's always a guy that smiles in the hallways, greets you. It seems like he's neither up nor down.
Mm-hmm.
He's always a pretty level kid. And especially as aggressive as you all play, how important is it to have guys that can play as aggressive as need be, but have to mentally and emotionally maintain that level-headedness? And what have you seen from him so far in this time?
Well, he is, obviously, if you've seen me at practice, my coaching style, I'm trying to push some buttons, I guess you could say. And I've yet to push his buttons, which upsets me. But it's also good because there is that, if things aren't going right, you still have that calming player who's older, who the kids respect, who can say, hey, let's calm down, let's do this, let's get back on task. So it's good. It's a good balance. I mean, you got JD who can get a little excited at times, and then you have Cam and Wody who, for the most part, level-headed, hard to get them emotional about anything. So it's a good balance, a good combination.
You mentioned the different personalities, and we've gone through some of those characteristics leading up to August 30th and between the hedges at Georgia. Is that kind of the goal, is getting everybody to continue to build together, and that way, like, okay, JD's up, I can balance him out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about the on-field communication, but it's kind of the nonverbal stuff of, hey, trust in me, we got you,
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's what we're trying to get, I want to go out to Georgia and I want to play well. But at the end of the day, whether we win or lose that game, it doesn't mean anything for our goals and aspirations, which is to win the Sun Belt Conference. So we're going in to win that game, but at the same time, we're also going into. You think, and I've been part of seasons where you think, okay, this is the type of team or this is the type of defense we are. Then you get to a game and it's, okay, this is not who I thought we were. So you got to make some adjustments. So I think I know what we are. I think I know who we are. And I think I know who we are as a team. But until those bullets start flying and people start reacting, because like you said, we have 62 new guys. You think you know, but when you start putting the feet to the fire, you might see a different side of a person. And we got to be able to adjust and be ready to adjust with what we are or who we are and what we're about to become. So that's kind of I'm ready. We'll see what happens.
I was going to say, you and Street had the exact same reaction when I brought up August 30th. You get itchy a little bit and start moving around. What's that like for a coach? People do focus on the players, and the players talk about, hey man, I'm ready, I can't wait for it. But coaches are the same way. It's competition, and you're ready to see what you build, right? Yeah, it's competition.
And I think that was the one thing that I may not have been the best athlete, I may not have been the best player, but when the competition started, that's where as I like to joke, you'd have to kill me to beat me. And that's why I'm looking forward to it. Not only to see what we have as a team, but it's the first time I've called a game in a while. And we're going in between the hedges. And so there's a lot of history and a lot of tradition there. So you want to do well, you want to play well, but at the same time, I want to compete. And we've got to wait how many ever days. I know everybody on social media has the countdown, and I have no idea. But I'm looking forward to it. And we'll prepare these guys as best we can and hopefully go in there and give ourselves a chance to win.
All right.
I'm not going in there to lose.